In a broad sense, I think alignment may be the best term to describe the journey that we've been on at PubMatic and with our customers and partners over the past 5 years. 4 or 5 years ago, we had the realization after some conversations with advertisers that PubMatic isn't a product. SSPs, along with publishers and DSPs and data partners and everything else, collectively are one advertising product or choice for advertisers. And while I'm sure that sounds obvious stated as a sentence, that's not how SSPs behaved at the time. They very much behaved as a product or a marketplace between publishers and DSPs. And I think once you change your North Star to be, how do you collectively create the best advertising channel possible for advertisers, you start behaving very differently. And alignment with other, components or companies within that supply chain becomes the name of the game. Said another way, the supply chain evolved from being a bunch of companies that, companies and systems that were designed to sort of manage each other to smaller groups of companies actively working together. So the question is, how do you do that well? Couple things. First, you need to narrow the group. You're never going to get alignment across 10 companies, let alone hundreds. Fragmentation is the enabler for gamesmanship. And in my opinion, the collective action problem may be, the greatest headwind for the open internet. So you have to narrow the group. Second, you need to be really clear about knowing the role of each player, sort of, knowing what problems they are owning, knowing the value that they add, and understanding the price that they extract. And with that clarity comes trust. And with trust comes the ability to innovate faster. And finally, third, you need to have really clear shared objectives and accountability. I think this is a kind of a critical role that advertisers need to play and why they need to be in every single one of these conversations. Advertisers who are effective at aligning their supply chain will have a supply chain that works on their behalf, and it will create differentiation for them. Yeah, I mean, DSPs are a critical component. And a good example would be MediaMath, one of our key partners in their source offering. I think the source offering, epitomizes the notion that a supply chain isn't vendors that need to be managed, but rather partners that can drive value. Some buyers like to sort of throw mandates at the supply chain and slap hands when things aren't perfect. MediaMath has done a really good job of sort of flipping that model and saying, let's get a much smaller group of partners, all of which have a shared philosophy and development resources. So collectively, we can do more. And let's, as a group, set the right incentives and roles and responsibilities. And then within that, we think about optimizing the supply chain really in 3 buckets from a DSP and SSP perspective. First is optimizing the fee that the technologies partners take. Second is optimizing the fee that the media partners charge. And third is optimizing the media that you buy. And we're doing things in all of those buckets, ranging from helping buyers to be able to have clear and predictable fees, to helping buyers employ their buying leverage, to working to have DSPs and SSPs work better together to share more data around outcomes. And then, how do we work to create a feedback loop for publishers so that they can better understand how well their inventory is working, for their buyers. And so, we're really excited about this effort in general. And, salute MediaMath for being such a strong leader and collaborator on this front. I think there are probably 3 areas that I'm observing to be most important to our both our publishers and our buyers from an innovation perspective. First, of course, is identity. The walled gardens have long had an advantage over the open web when it comes to identity. And we, as an open internet, have an opportunity to remove that advantage. At PubMatic, we're lucky that we have an amazing publisher footprint activating our identity solution, and buyers are holding us accountable to continuing to lead on that front to ensure that the IDs that are important to them have the scale and distribution that they require. So identity, certainly first and foremost. Second would be, as you alluded to, CTV and OTT. So a lot of the benefits we've come to expect in programmatic and other formats don't yet exist in programmatic CTV. Fee transparency, log data access, the ability to bid what you want to bid, all of these things aren't available in sort of the ad network business models that fuel the industry today. And certainly as well as, holistic ad pod management, critical to making programmatic OTT and CTV work for publishers and buyers. And I think third and final thing that we're being asked a lot for is bespoke technology. We have a belief that major buyers will want differentiation in their supply chain, and they won't be able to obtain differentiation by employing, the same tools that all other buyers are employing. So by definition, they're going to need bespoke technology. And so we've seen and expect to continue to see an increase in discussions around custom technology builds and how we can, again, make the whole programmatic system better for buyers, which is good for not just PubMatic, but our publishers, programmatic publishers at large. So, a crazy year indeed, but I think certainly an exciting one for programmatic and programmatic publishers.